You're watching TimesXP. I am Driti Atri, and here are the biggest stories that are making headlines across the globe today. So, let's start with it. Hamas makes a bold comeback in Gaza. That's right, after months of Israeli strikes, Hamas has regained control of major parts of Gaza. The group is rebuilding administrations, courts, and even aid distributions faster than the IDF ever predicted. Israeli intelligence admit the speed of Hamas's return. It has shocked even the top officials now. Alarms in Israel's security establishment. Top Israeli officials warn that Hamas's rapid recovery is a nightmare scenario, unfolding in real time. While billions spent and senior commanders eliminated, yet that group is back in the streets. Here, security chiefs now call for immediate reassessment of Gaza operation. IDF calls for new Gaza strategy here. Israel must craft its own long-term plan to demilitarize Gaza. That's what the IDF said. In the meantime, the US-led disarmament plan, it won't work, marking a strategic reality check here. Military leaders, they emphasize that Israel cannot rely solely on external plans now. Political embarrassment for Israel. Hamas's return is not just a military setback for them, but a major political embarrassment. Israel faces a wake-up call on ground reality versus diplomacy here. In fact, the cabinet ministers, they reportedly scrambled to respond to the intelligence failures. Trump stopped cold by MBS. During a White House meeting, Saudi Crown Prince, he rejected Mr. Trump's push for Israel normalization. MBS, he demanded a real Palestinian state path before considering ties. In fact, sources say that the meeting left the US officials stunned and frustrated. MBS warns of regional unrest here. Crown Prince highlighted Arab world protest and Gaza anger. He warned that forcing normalization now, it could ignite and not stabilize the Middle East. Now here experts say that this signals a growing assertiveness from Saudi Arabia. The US-Saudi diplomatic humiliation here. Trump faced a very rare diplomatic setback as MBS stood firm. Message is very clear. Even the top US pressure cannot override Palestinian issue right now. Diplomats, they warn that this could reshape the entire US influence in the region. Kash Patel at the center of the FBI storm here. Well, MS Now, they reported that Kash Patel was on the verge of being fired as FBI director. After that, Trump, he quickly denied and he posted a smiling photo with Patel in the Oval Office. The controversy has Washington buzzing about loyalty and optics. Behind the scenes controversy, Patel faces criticism for alleged misuse of taxpayers' fund security bills, and that too for his girlfriend. In fact, top Trump legal aides reportedly clashed with him over decision-making. Here, sources say that tensions have created a divide. Maybe the atmosphere is tensed inside the White House right now. FBI under pressure. Epstein-related questions and controversies, they buzz around the bureau right now. Washington is asking just one question. How long can Patel survive this storm? Here, political analysts, they warn the situation could escalate quickly. Infighting rocks Israel's defense leadership here. IDF chief Eyal Zamir, he publicly criticized Defense Minister Katz. Zamir says that political interference is weakening Israel during critical operations now. The feud has alarmed military observers around the globe. Promotions freeze sparks the clash here. Katz froze senior IDF promotion and reinvestigated October 7th report. Zamir warns that it is crippling the army readiness amid the Gaza and northern threats. Right now, both the sides remain entrenched and there is no resolution in sight. Netanyahu steps in. That's right, their Prime Minister Netanyahu was forced to mediate between the top generals and defense ministers. Here, critics warn public feud risks the weakening of the IDF and vulnerable time is just around the corner. In fact, observers say that his leadership is under intense scrutiny for now. Iran issues chilling threat. Following Israel's Beirut strike, Iran's parliament speaker vowed retaliation. Israel's aggressive hands must be cut off. That's what he declared publicly. In fact, Iran signals readiness to respond through proxies across the entire Middle East. Hezbollah rages in Beirut. Hezbollah calls the assassination of Tabatabai an act of war. The whole group now labels it as a red line, signaling possible escalation here, but military analysts, they warn of potential cross-border clashes. Nuclear alarm. Iran enrichment hits 60% now. Scary, but that's true. IAEA, they confirm that Iran is enriching uranium at 60% purity. Now that's far beyond the civilian needs. Experts warn that it's the closest that Iran has ever been to a nuclear weapon. Global intelligence agencies are right now on high alert. Nuclear threat looms over Middle East. If Iran reaches 90% enriched uranium, a bomb could be built faster than global readiness. Regional powers may rush their own nuclear program in response, and diplomats, they fear a nuclear arms race could destabilize the entire Middle East. Trinidad and Tobago seizes high-value drugs here. Well, 400,000 Trinidad Tobago dollar worth of cannabis. It hides in barrels arriving from Florida. It was seized. In fact, multi-agency operation, the Blast, they foiled the smuggling with no confirmation arrest yet. Yet, the authorities described the operation as a major blow to the organized crime. Message to smugglers here: authorities are going to strike you really hard. Top police oversight ensured the coordination sees the success. In fact, they warn that you cannot hide, you cannot escape. Officials vow to continued vigilance against the narcotics trafficking. United States military plans Caribbean's presence until 2028. Leaked documents show thousands of troops and supplies stationed long term. Here, contracts reveals massive food stockpiles, including the baked goods, and that too for years. Experts say that the scale, it signals a strategic shift in the US regional priorities. Search signals possible Venezuela conflict here. Pentagon build-up may hint at regime change plan beyond the anti-drug operation. In fact, 15,000 troops, air carriers and special ops ships, they are deployed over there. Analysts warn tensions could spark direct confrontation between the two leaders. East India tensions soar. Japan scrambled jets after a suspected Chinese drone near their island. In fact, missile deployment to the island provokes Beijing, while Taiwan supports Japan right now. Military experts warn that the standoff could escalate into a full-blown conflict. One misstep could ignite conflict here. That's right. Yonaguni's strategic base hosts medium-range missiles. In fact, one wrong move could escalate into full-scale East Asia conflict. Here, Japan urges calm but remains really ready for any sudden escalation. Iran condemns US threats in Latin America. Their foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, he slammed the US actions towards Venezuela as aggressive bullying. Here, Caribbean tensions rise amid the US naval buildup and the anti-drug strike. Here's a message to Washington from Iran: threats will not be tolerated. Iran-Venezuela alliance strengthens. In fact, past visits and 20-year cooperation deals, it highlights a joint stance against the US pressure. Warnings are very clear. Any US aggression could escalate regionally here. Analysts say that the alliance signals a long-term strategic partnership. Yemen under attack. US and Britain, they strike Houthis. Well, coalition targeted 8 key Houthi locations, including missiles and drone strikes. Strikes aim to disrupt the Iran-backed operations threatening the Red Sea shipping here. In the meantime, Houthis warn of retaliation, raising the stakes of regional security. Houthis threatened retaliation here. All US and British ships, they now declared legitimate target by Houthis. Red Sea could become a flashpoint for wider conflict for now. In fact, global shipping and trade, they might face potential disruption. Global implication of Middle East strike. Escalation risks to draw multiple nations into conflict amid the Gaza tension. One miscalculation could spark a regional war right now. The international community urges restraint and diplomacy. Nuclear race in the Middle East intensifies. Iran's uranium enrichment brings global power closer to the nuclear showdown here. The world watches as Tehran approaches to the point of no return. Every single day brings the region closer to a potential crisis. A world on the edge tonight, from Gaza to Beirut, Yemen to the Caribbean, tensions are peaking. Every single move carries risks, and diplomacy is under pressure like never before. Here, experts warn that the coming weeks could redefine the entire global security. And with that, that's a wrap-up of our 30 news bulletins from around the globe. The world is changing, and so is geopolitics, and TimesXP is here to give you all the latest updates about the change. I am Driti Atri. See you tomorrow.